What if everything you've been told about women is not just wrong, but dangerously incomplete? What if the things you've misunderstood about her emotions aren't flaws to take advantage of, but reflections that reveal the truth about your own strength or lack of it? We live in an era where men are taught to be gentle, passive, and agreeable. But what if those very traits are causing her to pull away from you? This isn't manipulation. It's about waking up. Because if you don't understand what truly shapes her emotions, what makes her test you, what makes her trust you, you'll lose her and never even know why. These aren't games. These are the laws of life. Are you ready to face them? Why do so many relationships start with so much passion, only to collapse into cold resentment? It's not that love disappears. It's because the truth disappears. One of the deepest vulnerabilities within her heart is the hunger for emotional security. Now listen closely. That desire isn't evil. It's not about manipulation. It's driven by something noble, a natural instinct to protect, to nurture, to create peace. But here's where things go wrong. When she feels even a little bit unsafe emotionally, that craving can turn toxic. It pushes her to seek certainty, even if it means sacrificing the truth. And if you're weak, if you're too afraid to stand your ground, you'll give in. You'll begin to censor your words, walk on eggshells, suppress your own discomfort just to keep the peace. At first it seems to work. She feels calmer. You avoid conflict. But over time, a slow decay begins. Because now the relationship isn't built on truth. It's built on performance. And deep down, both of you can feel it. The man loses his edge, his authenticity, his fire, and she starts resenting him. Why? Because deep down, every woman knows that a man who betrays himself just to please her cannot protect her. He's no longer trustworthy. He's convenient. And a convenient man doesn't command respect. Do you understand how devastating that is? A relationship built on lies, even tiny ones, is a slow death. It's a betrayal of everything sacred. And yet this happens every day. You see it in the man who stays silent to avoid an argument, in the woman who senses that something is wrong but can't put it into words, in the hollow eyes of couples who haven't had an honest conversation in years. The truth is difficult, but it's the only thing that transforms people. It's the only thing that builds a relationship that stands the test of time. If you are a man, never ever offer her comfort at the expense of your character. If something is wrong, say it. If you disagree, speak up. Not cruelly, not arrogantly, but with unshakable honesty. When you speak your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, you invite her to do the same. And in that space, something rare and beautiful happens. Real intimacy. If she can't handle your truth, then she's not strong enough to love the real you. And if you hide it just to keep her, you're not strong enough to love her either. Better to be hated for being real than loved for being false. Why does she start trying to control you when you stop moving forward? It's not because she's power hungry. It's because you've left a vacuum where your purpose should be, and someone has to fill it. Let me make something clear. A woman's nurturing instinct is one of the most powerful forces in the world. It can build families, heal wounds, and soften the harshness of life. But if you're not moving towards something greater, that same nurturing energy will turn into control. Not because she's trying to dominate you, but because your lack of direction forces her to take charge. Let's be honest for a moment. Most men today are lost. They've abandoned their goals. They've traded ambition for comfort. They're more focused on avoiding discomfort than becoming dangerous in the pursuit of meaning. And when a man gives up on his mission, a woman has no choice but to step in. Not because she wants to lead, but because she can no longer trust him to do it. You might think, she's changed. She doesn't admire me anymore. You've changed. You became passive. You became soft. And she reacted to that because women don't want to manage men. They want to follow them, not in weakness, but in trust. Do you think she feels pride when she has to remind you to get your life together? When she's scheduling your appointments, managing your moods, pushing you to chase dreams you should have pursued long ago? That's not partnership. That's parenting. And no woman wants to be your mother. And if she becomes one, the love turns into duty, and duty turns into disgust. You were built to carry weight. You were designed to bear the responsibility of a mission bigger than yourself. When you live like that, something incredible happens. She softens. She supports. She leans into her femininity because your masculinity gives her the space to do so. You become someone she respects, someone she admires, someone she chooses day after day, not because she has to, but because she wants to. So here's the harsh reality. If she starts trying to control you, it's not just her problem, it's yours. You've left her with nothing to support. You've abandoned your role, and then you wonder why she doesn't see you as the man you once were. You want her devotion? Then earn it. Get up, find your mission, and live like your life matters, because it does. When you live with purpose, she won't try to control you. She'll trust you to lead. Why does she test you, then get upset when you fail? Because deep down, she's not looking for perfection. She's looking for someone she can trust to stand firm when everything else falls apart. You need to understand this clearly. A woman's tests are not cruelty. They are survival. She's wired to assess your strength, not just your physical strength, but your emotional resilience, your moral integrity, your sense of purpose. She has to know what you're made of, because when she gives you her body, her future, her children, she is entrusting you with everything. And you think that comes without examination? She tests. She challenges your beliefs. She questions your decisions. She pokes at your flaws. And here's the painful truth. If you flinch, if you get defensive, if you sink into self-pity or anger, you've failed. Now she knows you're reactive, not grounded. You're ruled by your emotions, not guided by your principles. And the moment she sees that, something dies. It's subtle at first. Less warmth, less admiration, less desire. Eventually, she stops seeing you with hope and starts seeing you with disappointment. So why do so many men feel disrespected in their relationships? It's because they crumble under pressure. And a man who crumbles cannot be trusted to lead, not in her eyes, not in nature's eyes. But listen to me. This is not a condemnation. It's a call to action. When you pass her tests, not by dominating her, but by standing calmly in your truth, something profound happens. She relaxes. She lets go of the anxiety she couldn't even name. She stops fighting you because she knows you won't abandon yourself. And in that moment, she can surrender, not in weakness, but in deep primal trust. The test is not your enemy. The test is the invitation, and it never stops. Not because she's broken, but because life will always demand your strength. Chaos will always come. Doubt, pressure, the temptation to bend, to give in, to hide, these will never stop. But neither should you. She needs to know deep down that the man she chose will still be standing strong when the storm hits. So when she challenges you, don't shrink. Don't complain or wonder why she's doing this to you. Instead, ask yourself, what does this moment demand from me as a man? The man who rises to the challenge, who passes the test, earns a love that can't be taken away. But what if the love she gives you, the care she shows, is slowly breaking you? It may sound unbelievable, but it happens all the time. Not because she doesn't care, but precisely because she does. The gift a woman brings into a man's life is empathy, her ability to feel your pain, to stand with you in the darkness. But there's a danger. If you aren't careful, her empathy can become an excuse to stay weak. And when that happens, her love becomes a cage. Here's how it works. When you're struggling, when you're uncertain and overwhelmed, she's there. She holds you, listens to you, reassures you, it's okay, I'm here. In that moment, something beautiful happens. You feel seen, you feel safe. But if you stay there, if you settle into that weakness, you're abusing her love. You become addicted to it, relying on her to carry you through. Over time, she'll see it. She'll notice that you aren't climbing out of your troubles. You're just sinking a little slower. You aren't using her support to rise, you're using it to survive. And eventually, the very thing she gave you to heal becomes the reason she loses respect for you. She didn't fall in love with your pain. She fell in love with your fight. There's a paradox here. A woman wants to love a man who needs nothing from her, but still chooses to receive her love. She wants to nurture strength, not babysit failure. The moment you start using her empathy as an escape from responsibility, she feels it, and it breaks her heart in a way she can't put into words. So what do? You take her love, you take her comfort, but you don't stay weak. You rise, you face the parts of yourself that you've been hiding from. You stop asking her to carry what only you can fix. When you stand tall, when you stand honest, without excuses, that's when her love comes alive. If you want to be loved for who you are, then be someone worth loving. Don't turn her empathy into your crutch. Let it fuel your return to strength. Because if you force her to choose between saving you or respecting you, she'll choose neither. Have you ever wondered why she says she wants a nice guy, then pulls away when he shows up? It's because what she says she wants and what she respects are often very different. And here's the truth. A woman doesn't want a man who bends to her every whim. She wants a man who stands his ground, even when it makes her uncomfortable. Today, nice is often code for agreeable, harmless, neutered. And you think that's going to inspire love, passion, trust? Of course not. A woman can only fall in love with a man she looks up to. Not one she can control, not one she can predict, and certainly not one who sacrifices his values to avoid conflict. Most men today have been told that masculinity is toxic, that assertiveness is aggression, that boundaries are unkind. So they shrink, they play small, they become overly accommodating. They ask for permission to be who they are and call it love. But it's not love, it's fear. And that fear is exactly what kills attraction. A woman doesn't want a man who's always available, always agreeable, always folding. She wants a man who knows who he is so deeply that no amount of emotional pressure can make him betray his core. That kind of man is rare. She'll test you to see if you're one of them. And if you fold, if you apologize for being masculine, if you explain away your vision, your gut instincts, then you might get her approval. But that approval is empty. You won't get her desire. You won't get her admiration. You'll get something far worse. Her quiet withdrawal, her fading trust, her inner voice saying, he's not strong enough. So stop trying to be liked. Start being real. Start speaking the truth. Start enforcing boundaries. Speak with the kind of strength that doesn't need permission. A woman's deepest need is to feel safe. But safety doesn't come from passivity. It comes from power, restrained by principle. Be kind, yes. Be loving, yes. But be dangerous too. Because only the man capable of force, but who chooses self-mastery, is worthy of her submission. A nice guy gets tolerated. A strong man gets chosen. What if I told you that the woman in your life doesn't want to be the center of your world? That she shouldn't be? The moment you orbit her, lose yourself in her moods, abandon your mission for the sake of love, you don't become more attractive. You become invisible. And men need to hear this more than ever. A woman will never love a man who has no direction of his own. She might say she wants your presence, your attention, your availability. But deep down she's watching to see if you'll abandon your purpose just to keep her close. The moment you do, she loses respect because now you've made her your God. She wants to trust that you belong to something greater than her. When a man builds his entire identity around a woman, he places a burden on her that she can't carry. He expects her to validate his worth, to fix his wounds, to tell him who he is. But that's not love. That's dependency. That's spiritual starvation disguised as romance. And when she feels that weight, when she realizes you have no mission beyond her, she feels it in her bones. This man can't lead me anywhere. How can he lead if he doesn't even know where he's going? This doesn't mean you shut her out. It's not about cold detachment. It's about creating a life so full of meaning, so grounded in truth, that your love for her flows from strength, not desperation. She needs to feel that even if she walked away, you would still be whole. You would still be disciplined, still striving for greatness. That's what makes her trust you. That's what makes her choose you again and again, even when the world shakes. You need a mission beyond the relationship, a cause, a calling, something that challenges your soul and sparks your potential. When a woman meets a man with that kind of purpose, she doesn't want to be the purpose. She wants to walk beside you to amplify your journey. Don't ask her to save you from your emptiness. Fill it, own it, conquer it. Because the man who makes a woman his world loses both. But the man who makes purpose his world, he becomes unforgettable.